In the twilight years, the veil between worlds grows thin. The elderly stand at a powerful threshold, one foot in the material realm and one gradually stepping into the spiritual dimensions. Edgar once described this sacred transition period as the golden bridge of opportunity, where souls can complete vital spiritual work before returning to their eternal home. The first sacred mission that awaits those blessed with longevity is the transmission of soul wisdom. Unlike the knowledge found in books or even the practical wisdom gained through experience, soul wisdom represents the accumulated spiritual understanding gathered over many lifetimes. It is the profound inner knowing that transcends intellectual comprehension, the wisdom of the heart. When elders share their soul wisdom, they aren't merely passing down advice or cultural traditions. They're transmitting vibrational patterns and spiritual truths that younger generations can recognize at a soul level. Have you noticed how certain words from an elder can resonate so deeply within you? This is because their words carry the frequency of lived truth, activating dormant knowledge within your own soul. This transmission often happens through storytelling, through presence, and sometimes through silence. An elder sitting peacefully in contemplation creates a field of coherence that teaches more profoundly than any sermon. Their weathered faces become living manuscripts, each line telling the story of challenges faced and transcended, of loves found and lost, of the eternal dance between joy and sorrow. Young souls are naturally drawn to elders who have awakened to this mission. Children especially can sense which elders carry this light of soul wisdom. They gravitate toward grandparents who have made peace with their journey, who radiate a quiet joy and acceptance that makes them natural spiritual teachers. The transmission of soul wisdom isn't about imposing beliefs or dogmas. Rather, it's about creating sacred spaces where younger generations can witness embodied spiritual truths. When an elder demonstrates forgiveness after decades of holding a grudge, the lesson penetrates deeper than any spiritual text could achieve. When they face physical limitations with grace and humor, they teach the impermanence of the body and the enduring nature of the spirit. For those approaching the elder years, this mission begins with the inner work of harvesting one's own soul wisdom. This requires honest reflection, meditation on life's pivotal moments, and the courage to face one's shadows. Only when we have integrated our own life lessons can we distill them into the pure nectar of wisdom that nourishes future generations. Many elders feel an increasing urgency to share what they've learned, not from ego, but from a soul-level understanding that their time in physical form grows shorter. This urgency is a sacred calling, guiding them to mentor young seekers, to write their memoirs, to record their stories, or simply to be fully present with their grandchildren, allowing wisdom to flow through mundane moments of connection. Those who consciously embrace this first mission often find that it activates a remembrance of their own elders, those who transmitted soul wisdom to them. In this remembrance, they become living links in an unbroken chain of spiritual inheritance that extends backward and forward through time, connecting all generations in the great spiral of soul evolution. As you read these words, perhaps you feel a stirring within, a recognition of elders in your life who fulfilled this mission, or perhaps a calling to prepare yourself for this sacred role. The transmission of soul wisdom is not reserved for gurus or spiritual teachers. It is the birthright and responsibility of all who reach the honored state of elderhood. The second sacred mission that awaits those in their elder years is perhaps the most profound gift they can offer their bloodline: the purification of family karma. This divine task requires courage, compassion, and the spiritual maturity that often only comes with decades of life experience. Family karma represents the unresolved emotional patterns, unhealed wounds, and unconscious agreements that pass from generation to generation like invisible inheritance. These patterns manifest as recurring struggles, relationship dynamics, and even health conditions that seem to echo through the family tree. The elderly stand at a powerful intersection. They have witnessed these patterns across multiple generations and hold the spiritual authority to break these chains. When an elder consciously addresses family karma, they initiate ripples of healing that move both backward through ancestors and forward through descendants. This work begins with the brave act of recognition, seeing clearly how pain has been transmitted through the family line. Perhaps it's the pattern of addiction that claimed grandparents and now threatens grandchildren. Perhaps it's the tendency toward emotional distance that has left family members feeling isolated despite being surrounded by kin. Or perhaps it's unspoken resentments that have created invisible walls between branches of the family tree. The elderly possess a unique perspective that allows them to recognize these patterns not as personal failings, but as collective wounds seeking healing. With each year that passes, they gain greater emotional distance from family dramas, enabling them to see with the clarity of compassion rather than the fog of reactivity. This perspective is precisely what makes them ideal vessels for karmic purification. The healing work often begins with the elder's willingness to examine their own participation in family patterns. This requires profound honesty and the humility to acknowledge where they may have unconsciously perpetuated inherited wounds. Such self-reflection isn't about assigning blame, but about taking spiritual responsibility for one's role in the family system. Forgiveness emerges as the central practice in this mission, not the shallow forgiveness that dismisses harm, but the profound forgiveness that acknowledges pain while releasing its energetic grip on the family soul. When an elder forgives a parent who has already passed on, that forgiveness reverberates through the spiritual dimensions, offering peace to both the ancestor and all who carry fragments of that relationship within them. Equally powerful is when an elder seeks forgiveness for their own missteps. Many find that as they approach their final transition, unresolved relationships weigh heavily on their hearts. The courage to initiate reconciliation, to speak the words, "I am sorry," with complete sincerity, creates openings for healing that may have seemed impossible for decades. These conversations, though sometimes difficult, become sacred ceremonies of karmic release. The purification process also involves reclaiming disowned aspects of the family story. In many families, certain experiences or relatives become unmentionable. The uncle who struggled with mental illness, the cousin who chose an unconventional path, the grandparent who fled their homeland in shame. When elders bring these shadows into the light through storytelling and acknowledgement, they restore wholeness to the family narrative. This mission often manifests in practical ways. Some elders feel called to organize family reunions where multiple generations can connect face to face, healing the disconnection of modern life. Others document family histories, preserving not just dates and names, but the emotional truths and spiritual lessons of their lineage. Still others create new family traditions that emphasize values of connection, authenticity, and mutual support. The most profound aspect of this mission happens in the invisible realms. As elders meditate or pray for their family's healing, they serve as conduits for divine grace to enter the family field. Their spiritual practice becomes a lighthouse, guiding lost family souls toward reconciliation and peace. Their presence at family gatherings brings a grounding energy that often prevents old conflicts from reigniting. Those who consciously embrace this second mission frequently report mystical experiences, dreams of ancestors expressing gratitude, synchronicities that bring estranged family members together, or intuitive knowings about family secrets that needed revelation. These experiences affirm that the work of karmic purification extends beyond the physical dimension, touching realms where time functions differently and healing can reach across generations instantaneously. As the elder completes this sacred mission, they often witness tangible changes in family dynamics. The grandchild, who seemed destined to repeat destructive patterns, suddenly makes different choices. Long-standing tensions between siblings ease without obvious cause. The family begins to feel more like a coherent field of love rather than a collection of competing individuals. The third sacred mission entrusted to those in their elder years requires perhaps the greatest spiritual courage: the conscious preparation for spiritual homecoming. This profound work involves not merely accepting the inevitability of physical transition, but embracing it as a sacred threshold, a graduation rather than an ending. In our youth-obsessed culture, death remains the ultimate taboo, whispered about in hushed tones and obscured behind euphemisms. Yet those who have accumulated decades of wisdom understand a truth that younger souls cannot fully grasp: that the physical body is merely a temporary vessel for the eternal soul. The elder's mission is to model a different relationship with mortality, one of reverence, preparation, and even anticipation. This preparation begins with the inner work of life review, not the anxious rumination that younger minds might engage in, but a compassionate witnessing of one's entire journey. Like sorting through an attic filled with the treasures and trinkets of a lifetime, the elder examines relationships, choices, accomplishments, and regrets. This review happens naturally as the soul prepares to distill the essence of this incarnation's learnings. Dreams often become vivid during this phase, bringing symbols of transition and reunions with departed loved ones. Many elders report increased synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to confirm the soul's growing connection to non-physical realms. These experiences aren't cause for fear, but are recognized as sacred communications, gentle reminders that the veil between worlds grows increasingly transparent. The conscious elder understands that unresolved fears about death create energetic blockages that complicate the soul's eventual transition. Therefore, they engage in practices that allow them to face and release these fears. Meditation on impermanence, contemplation of near-death experiences, conversations with spiritual guides, or simply sitting peacefully with the reality of their own mortality. With each fear released, the pathway home becomes clearer. Part of this mission involves practical preparation, putting worldly affairs in order, determining the distribution of material possessions, and expressing wishes for end-of-life care. Yet the deeper work happens at the energetic level, where the elder begins the gradual process of detachment from material concerns. This doesn't mean abandoning joy in physical experiences, but rather holding them lightly, appreciating their beauty without clinging to them. Many find themselves naturally drawn to simplify their surroundings during this phase. The accumulation that characterized earlier decades gives way to a desire for spaciousness, fewer possessions, clearer spaces, lighter commitments. This external simplification mirrors the soul's own process of identifying what is essential to carry forward and what can be released. The preparation also involves strengthening the connection to one's spiritual essence. For some, this happens through renewed commitment to formal spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, sacred reading, or communion with nature. For others, it manifests as a deepening presence in ordinary moments, finding the sacred in a grandchild's laugh, a sunset's glow, or the perfect ripeness of a summer peach. These practices aren't about escaping the physical, but about recognizing the divine that permeates it. A crucial aspect of this mission is reconciling with the life one has lived. Many approach their elder years carrying regrets about paths not taken, relationships that faltered, or dreams unrealized. The spiritual work involves making peace with these aspects of the journey, understanding that every experience, even those perceived as failures, served the soul's evolution. This reconciliation brings a profound sense of completion and readiness for whatever lies beyond. Those who embrace this mission often experience a palpable shift in their relationship with time. The urgency that drove earlier decades dissolves into a spacious presence. Past and future lose their grip as the eternal now becomes increasingly accessible. This shift is visible to others. The elder seems to radiate a tranquil light, an unworldly serenity that both comforts and intrigues those still caught in time's current. Many elders report sensing the presence of spiritual guides or departed loved ones with increasing frequency as they engage with this mission. These presences aren't experienced as frightening visitations, but as welcome companions offering guidance for the journey ahead. Some describe the sensation of being gently coached, as if loving beings on the other side are preparing them for a joyful reunion. The elder fulfilling this mission becomes a living testimony that death need not be feared. Without words, they demonstrate that one can approach life's final chapter with dignity, curiosity, and even anticipation. This unspoken teaching may be their greatest gift to younger generations, who have been conditioned to view aging and death as failures rather than sacred transitions. As physical energy naturally wanes, spiritual energy often intensifies. Many report experiences of expanded consciousness, moments when the boundaries of the individual self seem to dissolve, offering glimpses of the unity that awaits. These experiences aren't sought through extreme measures, but arise naturally as the soul begins its gradual disengagement from dense physical experience. The fulfillment of this third mission brings a profound peace that transcends understanding. The elder moves through their final chapter with grace, neither clinging to life nor rushing toward death, but fully present to each moment of the sacred threshold time they've been granted. In the sacred landscape of elderhood, the final two missions intertwine like ancient vines, each strengthening the other, each bringing the soul's journey to its magnificent completion. These culminating missions are the reconnection with lost spiritual bonds and the silent healing of surrounding environments. Throughout our many incarnations, souls travel together in clusters, learning, growing, and evolving through countless relationships across time and space. As the elder approaches their transition, a magnetic phenomenon begins to occur. Souls from past lives who carry unfinished business or profound connection with the elder are drawn near, creating opportunities for reunion and resolution before the coming transition. These reconnections often occur in unexpected ways. A new neighbor moves in whose presence triggers inexplicable familiarity. A caregiver appears whose hands seem to hold forgotten memories. A stranger's eyes in a doctor's waiting room spark immediate recognition. The conscious elder understands these aren't random encounters, but divinely orchestrated opportunities for soul completion. Some reconnections happen entirely in the dream state or meditation, where an elder might encounter someone they've never met in this lifetime, but recognize instantly on a soul level. These meetings carry profound emotional resonance, feelings of homecoming, relief, or the sweet sorrow of recognition. In these encounters, karmic threads that have stretched across centuries can be acknowledged, healed, and peacefully released. The elder engaged in this mission develops heightened spiritual sensitivity to these connections. They learn to trust the subtle nudges of intuition that guide them towards certain people or circumstances. They notice the flutter of recognition in their heart when encountering a soul from their spiritual family. These meetings often require no words. The healing happens in the field of shared presence, in the silent acknowledgement of the eternal bond. For some elders, this mission involves reconciliation with those still living with whom relationship has fractured. A mysterious urgency arises to reach out to estranged children, former friends, or distant relatives. This isn't driven by fear of regret, but by soul-level knowing that completing these circles is essential before transition. When approached with humility and openness, these reconnections often bring unexpected healing for all involved. Simultaneously, the fifth mission unfolds as the elder becomes a silent healer of environments. This isn't about dramatic interventions or proclaimed spiritual authority. Rather, it manifests as the subtle radiance of a soul approaching wholeness, a presence that naturally harmonizes discordant energies around it. The elder's home becomes a sanctuary of peace that visitors notice immediately upon entering. "I always feel so calm here," they might remark, unaware that they're responding to the elder's energetic stewardship. The conscious elder understands that their very presence, their breath, thoughts, and energetic field impacts the subtle atmosphere of any space they inhabit. This environmental healing extends beyond physical spaces to the emotional climate of families and communities. The elder who has done their inner work becomes a stabilizing presence during family conflicts, not through intervention, but through embodied peacefulness. Their equanimity creates a reference point of possibility, demonstrating without words that another way of being is available. Many elders find themselves naturally drawn to practices that amplify this healing presence, tending gardens, creating beauty in small ways, singing or humming healing tones, praying for their communities, or simply sitting in meditative stillness. These practices aren't performed for recognition, but emerge as natural expressions of a soul nearing completion of its earthly curriculum. The environmental healing happens on energetic levels invisible to ordinary perception. The elder's auric field gradually expands, touching and transmuting heavier energies in their surroundings. Their chakra system, refined through decades of life experience, broadcasts frequencies of harmony and coherence that subtly influence all within its radius. Even their physical cells, preparing for transition, release biophotons that affect nearby living systems in beneficial ways. Those fulfilling these final missions often experience a paradoxical increase in spiritual energy, even as physical energy diminishes. They may need more physical rest, yet find their dream life, meditation experiences, and intuitive capacities intensifying. Many report moments of spontaneous bliss or profound communion with the divine that require no practice or effort, as if the boundaries between dimensions naturally thin as transition approaches. The convergence of these final missions creates a beautiful symmetry. As the elder reconnects with souls from their past, they simultaneously heal the environments of the present, creating ripples that will influence future generations. They become living bridges between realms, between time frames, between what has been and what will be. In their final days, those who have embraced all 5 missions often exhibit a luminous quality that transcends physical appearance. Caregivers and family members frequently report seeing light around them or feeling palpable waves of love in their presence. Some speak of music only they can hear or describe celestial beings gathering nearby. These experiences aren't hallucinations, but glimpses of the multidimensional reality that the transitioning soul increasingly inhabits. The completion of all 5 missions prepares the elder for a transition of extraordinary grace and consciousness. Rather than a fearful or resistant departure, their crossing becomes a sacred ceremony, a conscious release of the physical form and joyful reunion with the greater spiritual reality from which they came and to which they return. For those witnessing an elder who has fulfilled these missions, the experience transforms their understanding of death itself. They recognize that what they're observing isn't an ending, but a graduation, not a loss, but a transformation. This witnessing becomes a profound teaching that no book or lecture could provide, a lived demonstration of the soul's eternal journey. And so the wheel turns. The elder completes their earthly curriculum and returns to spiritual dimensions, carrying with them the wisdom gathered through their lifetime. The seeds they planted, through transmitted wisdom, healed family karma, conscious preparation, soul reconnections, and environmental healing, continue to blossom in the hearts and lives of those who remain. Their departure becomes not an absence, but a different kind of presence, a loving influence that continues to guide and inspire from beyond the veil. If these ancient spiritual insights have touched your soul, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your journey of spiritual awakening deserves nurturing, and each week we explore more profound wisdom from timeless sources. Leave a comment sharing which of these 5 elder missions resonated most deeply with you, or how an elder in your life has fulfilled these sacred purposes. Your experiences create a tapestry of shared wisdom that benefits our entire spiritual community. Remember, by engaging with this content, you're not just watching a video, you're participating in the transmission of soul wisdom that has flowed through generations. Subscribe now to continue this sacred journey together.